E- Yo, welcome back to another video. We just watched The Rock tell us why he wasn't involved in the returns, and I want to see what Ross has to say about it. So let's go.
In with another video. So, we found out last night after Monday Night Raw that The Rock was going to make an appearance on the Pat McAfee show. Now, that already had a lot of criticism just off rip because a lot of people was like, well, you couldn't show up to WrestleMania, so now you're going to show up on the Pat McAfee show. What's going on here? So, they had the Pat McAfee show today. I'm not sure if it's still going live, but I was able to catch some of the clips on Twitter. And right now, people are not not happy with what The Rock explanation for why he wasn't involved in WrestleMania this year. And I'm gonna play a couple of clips from different accounts on Twitter that was clipping it up, and I'm gonna just play it. So for those who haven't seen it, some of these explanations make absolute no sense. I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions on this, but we're gonna get right into this so y'all can actually see what his excuse was. This is on Fadeaway Media. The Rock says ticket sales were low for the Elimination Chamber, so he came up with this segment for Cody to sell his soul. Let's check this out.
Sales are a little slow, but beyond that, he goes, what we are finding is with Elimination Chamber, it's become the pay-per-view that's been interesting. Fans have had fun, but it's also the conduit to WrestleMania. And how do we create a Elimination Chamber that people must tune in to see? How do we create that? And he goes, right now, we don't have that. And he said, will the final boss show up? I said, well, let me give it some thought and let me get back to you. So I gave it some thought. I got back to Ari. I got back to Triple H and Nick. We had a call. And I said, I have an idea. What's most important to the final boss? The most important thing to the final boss isn't titles. It's not money. It's not fame. Been there, done that, and grateful for that. Final boss wants your soul. And what does that mean? What that means, that doesn't mean, hey, the final boss wants you to act like this, be like this at his beck and call and treat you like crap and make you do all these things that are unbecoming or embarrassing. That's not what the final boss wants. That's not how the final boss flies. No. What that means is whatever you could think of in your head. So Cody Rhodes, whatever dreams you have, whatever ambitions you have, even if they're dark, even if they're amazing and they're full of light, even if they're scary, whatever those are, you tell the final boss he's going to make it all happen. You wave that magic wand, he'll make it all happen. So when it comes to giving me your soul, giving the final boss your soul, that is what you want, not what the final boss wants. And so what does the final boss get out of that? I get your soul for life. That's what the final boss gets out of that. No, so now we go into Elimination Chamber with this idea of, will Cody Rhodes sell his soul to the final boss? And my thought at that time, and you and I might have even talked, I know we talked about this, was it was a litmus test to find out, in my opinion, how will fans respond if Cody sold his soul to the final boss?
All right. Here's the thing. The idea of the ticket sales being low for Elimination Chamber being one of the reasons why he got involved. Here's the thing about that. If you wasn't trying to sell the fucking tickets for like ridiculous amount of money, I think more people would be willing to pay to go. And it would be a situation where more people have that opportunity to go, because that's been a general complaint for a lot of fans that have been going to these WWE shows lately. They are charging a large amount of money to go to these damn PLEs, and that should not be the case. If you just lower the prices, I think you can definitely get more people to come to these shows. Because the people want to, it's just y'all are charging crazy amount. And I believe that's a lot has to do with TKO and how they're trying to do things when it comes to generating a lot of revenue. And I think it's hurting the general fans, I guess you can say.
So one of our first options that we'll talk about is actually, just the traditional denture here. So we're talking about, chewing function with the denture.
boss, we've established this idea of Cody's soul. I knew then the best thing for the final boss, we've established this idea of Cody's soul. We can always come back to it. I did feel, and I made the call, I don't want to be involved in that. Step back. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John. Let it go to Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul eventually or John's soul. No, let's let them do what they do. And I called John after Elimination Chamber, spoke to him, called Cody, and I said, I think the final boss's work is done. We've established it. We just pulled off the greatest angle in the history of professional wrestling, other than Hulk Hogan turning heel back in the 90s. I said, this is amazing. We have 6 weeks. Now, let's build. You guys go and crush it. And I'll be right there with you. And I'm always here if you need me. But I think it's best for the final boss not to be involved in that finish. You guys go. So they had 6 weeks to plan for that. So I love the finish of the match.
Bro, ain't no fucking way. You telling me that was the best route? You telling me right after you do one of the biggest angles, one of the biggest heel turns in WWE history, and you are actively involved in it. All right, guys, I'm done here. Y'all have the rest of this build. I'm sure you guys are going to knock it out the park. And this explains why John Cena didn't really mention The Rock. They barely mentioned The Rock in this story because he wasn't going to be involved. Only to have Travis Scott, who's only there because of The Rock in this angle, to be the only person to show up. And that's only because they're trying to, I guess you can say, pay off Travis Scott getting his receipt, which was just a regular a Crossroads. Nah, bro. You can't. And I'm a fan of The Rock.
Can you react to anything else? Okay. That's what's up. Yo, appreciate everybody for joining in. I think we can do about